Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a truly fascinating political phenomenon, the sudden, meteoric rise of the Cockroach Janata Party. We're going to dive right into their recent Jantar Mantar protest, and specifically, evaluate how this digital-first mobilization is sending absolute shockwaves through the current ruling government and really the broader national landscape.
So, to really wrap our heads around the magnitude of this event, we're going to look at 4 key areas. First up, the epicenter, at Jantar Mantar. Then, we'll check out the ruling party's reaction, followed by the Congress Party's deep suspicion. And finally, we'll look at what this all means for the future of youth power in politics.
Okay, let's jump straight into Section 1, the epicenter at Jantar Mantar.
Now, there is a totally staggering contrast here. Within just a few days, an estimated 2.25 crore people joined this movement online. It spread like an absolute digital wildfire. Yet, the physical turnout at the actual Jantar Mantar protest clocked in at around, maybe 2,000 to 3,000 people. Now, some folks might just dismiss that discrepancy, but consider this for a second. For a brand new, completely spontaneous party with basically zero organizational structure, drawing the eyes of the entire nation to a few thousand people standing out in the sweltering heat, that's a massive feat.
Actually, the real success wasn't even the raw numbers. It was the unprecedented coalition that showed up. You had prominent activists like Sonam Wangchuk standing right alongside left-party student organizations and even CPI-ML leadership like Dipankar Bhattacharya. Plus, there was widespread approval from lawyers and social media activists. What we're witnessing here is a powerful magnet effect. It's pulling together these highly diverse factions under one very unconventional umbrella, mostly out of a shared frustration with the establishment.
Moving on to Section 2, Reaction of the Ruling Party.
The dynamic here is incredibly tense. The Cockroach Janata Party came out swinging. They were demanding immediate resignations from figures like Dharmendra Pradhan, even setting these super aggressive evening deadlines, and planning ongoing weekly protests across multiple cities. But on the flip side, the ruling party is definitely not treating this as just another protest. They view the whole thing as a coordinated conspiracy. Things got so heated that ruling camp political workers actually attempted to disrupt the event with slogans before they were detained. It's pretty clear the current government views this rapid mobilization as a serious subversive political threat.
Which brings us to Section 3, Congress's suspicion and worry.
So, to really understand the psychology of the primary opposition here, we have to look back at what observers are calling the Anna Hazare trauma. Congress clearly remembers a grassroots anti-corruption movement that, well, from their perspective at least, was completely co-opted by the RSS and BJP, which ultimately delegitimized and overthrew their government. So when they look at the Cockroach Janata Party today, they are absolutely terrified of this exact 3-step process repeating itself.
There is a brilliant local saying to describe this perfectly. A person burned by hot milk blows on cold buttermilk before drinking it. Essentially, once bitten, twice shy. The Congress Party is just so deeply traumatized by how they lost power back then that they tend to view almost any spontaneous grassroots movement as a conspiracy specifically designed to undermine them. And that paranoia could potentially be blinding them to genuine political shifts happening right now.
Now, this hesitation and paranoia stem from a few very specific places. First off, they fear this movement is acting as a parallel organization just built to siphon away their much-needed youth support. Add to that some genuine suspicion over logistics, like how protest permissions were seemingly granted so easily at the airport to Abhijeet Dipte. But perhaps the most crippling factor is their immense frustration. Think about it. The Youth Congress has faced water cannons and batons protesting exam scams for weeks, getting very little media traction. Meanwhile, this brand new movement drops from the sky and gets wall-to-wall coverage. It makes total sense that they're feeling a bit isolated and, frankly, jealous.
And the analysts point out a massive strategic lesson here. Historically, the BJP built its formidable power by infiltrating, joining, and adopting external grassroots movements, like the emergency protests, Bofors, or Anna Hazare. The current Congress flaw, however, seems to be political arrogance. As the oldest party, they kind of expect all these independent movements to just bow down and merge under their official banner, instead of just joining alongside them. By refusing to do that, they're arguably alienating the exact demographic they desperately need.
All right, let's zoom out for our final section, youth power and the future.
The observers here are pointing out what's basically a massive tsunami warning for traditional politics across the board. Just look at the neighborhood. In Nepal, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka, this exact same catalyst, tech-savvy youth mobilization, has recently overturned entire governments. These aren't your traditional old-school political workers.
They're armed with smartphones, they are capable of organizing literally millions of people in days, and they possess the power to physically challenge established structures. And it seems traditional parties in India simply haven't learned how to either counter or harness this new reality yet.
Which really leaves us with a critical question to ponder. As these highly connected, fiercely independent youth movements forge ahead, the clock is ticking. Can traditional political parties adapt to the technological and organizational power of today's youth before they become completely obsolete? Will they drop their paranoia and arrogance to harness this modern energy, or will they simply be swept away by it? Thanks for joining this explainer. Keep your eyes on how this political ripple effect unfolds.